Hi everybody, always into something. We're back on the Honda Pioneer. We've been doing a lot of maintenance on it lately. Made a couple videos on that. Hope those were helpful. Did something on the front and rear diffs, and then did an oil change and how to reset your warning light on your wrench for maintenance. Today's a little bit different. Got to do a repair. So what I have here is the yoke. It's like a little U-joint that goes from the rear of the motor to your rear diff, and we kind of had a mishap the last time we were out, and I wish I had the parts to show you, but we did lose them on the trail. Let me get a light here. All right, so we're looking at the back of the motor heading toward the rear differential, and you'll see what's left of that U-joint I was just telling you about, the yoke. And then there should be a shaft that goes from there back to the rear differential. There's your brakes. So, I'm going to have to, unfortunately, the differential's got to come out to have enough play to install that. There is a spring that you'll see. This end goes into the diff, and it gives you some play, and it keeps tension on everything, but it's not enough to just put in there. It's not a horrible job. Actually, this is my second one. I had one go about 4 years ago. I didn't really blame the bike that time because we were trying to pull out some massive blazer, and he was rutted up. We had a bunch of side-by-sides. We were all pulling on it. I broke a winch rope that night, and then the very next day that yoke went out. And we were actually able to take it off on the trail. And I just drove around in two-wheel drive the rest of the day. So, little Honda still made her back to camp. No issues there. But yeah, this time, same thing really. It blew loose in a hole. We didn't get the parts back. Just drove it back to camp two-wheel drive. Really not a huge deal. But to take this differential off, there's a few bolts you got to get to. But the worst one is right here. And it comes out right on that front A-arm. So let me get the wheel off. Let me show you what we got here. And I think we got to lower that A-arm, if I remember correctly, to get to that bolt. And let's get started. Okay, so I went ahead and got a couple of the easy stuff done real quick. So I got it jacked up. I always put a jack stand too. I don't always point that out, but just make sure you're supported. That tire I'm going to keep on, I think. So I got the tire off, and I went ahead and started taking some of these bolts loose on the differential. So there's one on the very top, just a nut and a bolt, no big deal. Down here, the same. So I haven't even got this one pulled out yet. So there's just a nut on this side, bolt pulls out. But you can see how long that bolt is. And therein lies the problem, because that bolt's so long that it's going to hit that knuckle on that side. So I've got the socket. I got two extensions just so it really makes it easy. I can get out here and torque on it. And then I've just got a wrench. I've just got a wrench placed down there on that nut to back it. And as I turn it, it just hits this, and it's creating its own backing. So I'm just ratcheting it off. So let me go ahead and get that off and see what we got to do on this A-arm. So just wanted to give you a rundown of where I'm at right now. So everything to get these three bolts off the rear diff are 14s. So I used a 14 wrench. Ratcheting wrench made it a little bit easier. There'll be three of these. I got to take that third one out. I'm going to show you that. But that's it to get the rear diff. Like I said, I did this extension, so it just made it a whole lot easier. And I don't know. You can see I've got aftermarket A-arms, Super ATV A-arms, and I'm lucking out, which isn't good for you guys. Because I'm pretty sure that I had to, let me get a good view here, that I had to take the bolts out of these and lower this A-arm. And what I did is I think I just took another jack stand and took those bolts out and just let it drop. It only needed to drop about, maybe not even a ½ inch. And then I was just able to slide it back in. But mine's clearing. And for some reason, I thought on the factory A-arms, it didn't. So that bolt, and my diff is loose right now. So that saved me a little bit of headache for sure. So now it's just a matter of getting this thing pried back and then starting the install. So I lay that with that one. Those are 2 long ones and then the 1 short one. So there's not too hard to get those. You're not going to get those confused. And then, like I said, so what I've got is the shaft, the yoke, and then you got to put a new seal, or my seal was no good. I wanted to replace it. And where this seal goes. So if you had to disassemble this, this yoke is right here. And then the shaft that comes out of that just runs back to the rear differential. And there's splines in there, and I'm going to grease all the splines and everything. But you can see how my U-joint just was destroyed. And some people have a hard time getting these off. This can get a little rusty or whatever. And I'm surprised this didn't fall off on the trail too, because mine just came right off. But if that's stuck for whatever reason, you may have to get something in here and just kind of pry that forward, not too hard on your back of your block here, your housing, but just kind of get that forward. So I've already sanded and kind of cleaned this all up. But this is where that new O-ring will go. Then this is just going to go right on there. And then that shaft is going to go back to the rear diff. And you just need a little play. So I'm just going to get a piece of board and wedge this differential backwards so that I can get enough room to put that shaft in. And like I say, if yours was installed, you'd have to do the same thing to pull it out and then just pop another one right back in. Like I said, grease those splines. So let me get this wedge back and we'll start putting it together. Okay, so I'm kind of in position. I just wanted to give you an idea of just what you've got to do here. I'm going to do a dry run basically. Not everything's not getting greased or anything like that, but that just simply size on there. You're going to take your spring in and insert it into the diff. And there's a spring and gasket. Like I say, I'm greasing all this, but you'll see with a little bit of play, that all just went into place. And now all I've got to do is move the diff back forward. Like I say, I'm taking this back apart. I'm going to grease all that. But I just wanted to show you how that's it. So if you can get that diff to just come right back up against your hitch, that's more than enough play. So you can see when you look at the holes lining up there, it's only a couple inches that it's back center to center of those holes. Also too, no need to take your brake apart. It can stay right on the differential, no problem. And you can see it's binding up here, so that's as far back as it's got to go, and it's going to go without taking a lot of stuff apart. And other than, I just wish I could remember if we had to take this A-arm loose. It's been 4 years ago, so I'm sorry. I can't remember, but I really thought I was going to have to drop that. So I'm just wondering if this A-arm's just a little different than factory. So that may be something that you just have to deal with. Take those 2 bolts back. If you got another jack stand, let it come down, or a floor jack, let it come down just a little bit, and it'll definitely clear those, and then you're all set. So let me go back on the other side, grease everything up, start sliding this thing back into position, and it will be a done deal. I don't know what caused this one to go bad. Like I say, last time was a little more abusive. These aren't horrible. I think that was like 65 bucks. That rear shaft was 55 or 58. Almost tempted, like I say, you can do this on the trail. We have. Tempted to keep one spare, but for every 4 years, I guess. That's really the only mechanical failure I've had. I broke a couple axles, but that was stupid is, stupid does. So let's put her together. All right, so I got the rear diff. These are just, the bolts are just put in place, no nuts on them for now. But I just wanted to get it all back into place. I did have to take a little pry bar, just makes it real easy. Kind of play with this to help line up the holes because I'm doing this by myself. So just fights you a little bit, but it's not horrible. And just get those bolts back in there. Of course, I got to tighten everything up. But just want to come around here real quick again. And so I did put that rubber seal on here. I greased all of those shafts, all the splines on them, every end. And you'll see how that boot's kind of mashed. So that spring is compressed in there. And now I've got to take that boot and slide it. I don't know. Oh yeah, I may have to take two hands. There are little tabs on it, but I got to get that boot back over that and get that sealed up. And that's it. Again, I think I got a little reprieve with that A-arm, but maybe I just can't remember. Maybe the factory A-arms did clear it. Like I said, we did do this on the trail, out in the middle of the woods. And what we did out there is we just took that out, that's sealed once that spline comes out of there. So yeah, put it in two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive and drive it the two-wheel drive the rest of the day. Not ideal, but like I say, get you back to camp. Never left me out. Never had to be towed. These things are built very well. This is just a little Achilles heel for it. And like I say, it's not a horribly expensive thing. It's almost something I wish I kept on the bike. The amount of gear I have on this bike is insane. So we can fix just about anything on anybody's bike when we're out. But anyway, so I hope this helps you out. Again, we're always into something. Really appreciate it. If you could like, really appreciate it. You could subscribe. We're just doing this for fun, but any comments or follow-up lets me know that I'm helping somebody, and that's the only reason I'm taking this extra effort. Is I've used YouTube forever, and it's helped me out, so I'm just returning the favor a little bit. So look back for our next video. I'll attach another link to one of my other Pioneer videos, and thanks again.